If you're looking to get the absolute most out of your recordings, here are the best settings that'll give you the highest possible quality at any resolution, all without overloading your hardware or tanking your frames. Let's get right into it. So starting out with chapter 1, this will be the foundation. First, we're going to be going over base versus scaled resolution. To do that, we're going to go to the settings in the bottom right-hand side of OBS. You can also get to this by going to File in the top left and going to Settings. Now in here, we're going to go down to the Video tab on the left-hand side. In here, you'll see that my options are grayed out. This is just because I am doing a recording currently. So first up, we're going to be looking at the base resolution. You're going to be setting this to whatever your current monitor resolution is at. So for instance, I'm on a 4K monitor, so I have mine set at 3840 by 2160. If you are on a 1440p monitor, you will be setting this to 2560 by 1440. And if you're on a 1080p monitor, you'll be setting this at 1920 by 1080. Now for the output scaled resolution. If you're wanting to record in something other than what your current monitor resolution is on, you'll be changing it right here. So say for instance, my monitor output is 4K, but I'm wanting to record in 1080p. I'll be changing the output scaled resolution down to 1920 by 1080p. Now here's another big thing as well. Make sure that all of your downscaling is done in the video tab and not in the recording tab. I'll go ahead and show that later on in the video. But in the recording tab or recording settings, you can turn on the rescale output setting. This basically does the same thing as output scaling inside of the video tab, but instead of using your GPU, it uses your CPU. So make sure you change your output scaled stuff in the video tab instead of the recording tab in order to use the right hardware and not overload your PC. Now for chapter 2, we're going to be going over formats. So for this, we're going to be going to the output tab on the left-hand side. Then we're going to be clicking on recording. Now for your recording format, you're going to want to set this to fragmented MP4. Now before fragmented MP4 was released on OBS, the golden standard was using MKV. MKV is still also a good option to use as both of them basically does the same thing. Now the reason why we choose these over the standard MP4 format is because say for instance, you're recording something and your OBS crashes, or say you have a sudden power loss. If you're recording in straight up MP4, you will lose that file. Whereas if you're recording in fragmented MP4 or MKV, it will save your file. The reason I choose fragmented MP4 over MKV is for the simple fact that it is easier to use in editing softwares. Although I will state that if you use MKV, you can also edit this in Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, as both of these now do read MKV files. So if you're running MKV, just make sure you check your editing software to see if you can use that. If it can't, then you do have to run fragmented MP4, or you can also choose the remuxing option. To find that, we're going to go to Advanced, and under the Recording tab, you're going to select Automatically Remux to MP4. Remember, only do this if you're recording in MKV, and basically what this will do is that when you're done recording, your video file will come out as MP4 instead of MKV. Now for the next setting, we're going to be going over the video encoder. As you see, I'm currently running the NVIDIA NVENC AV1 encoder. AV1 is the current gold standard to use as it has the best quality and smallest file sizes for said quality. Now, if you don't have access to AV1, I will be putting a screenshot up right now so you can see all of the other formats that you can use. So if you're running a 40 or 50 series NVIDIA card, you will have access to HEVC or H.265. And if you don't have access to that, you can also use H.264 as well. So as you see, since I am running an NVIDIA GPU, it does say NVIDIA NVENC AV1. So say for instance, you're running AMD or Intel, you will see it listed as the name of what hardware you're using first, and then what the encoder is after that. So if you're running an AMD GPU or an Intel GPU, make sure you have the correct encoder selected. Now on to chapter 4. This is the absolute secret sauce of this whole thing. This is what puts everything together. This is where you're going to get all of your quality at. But when you do have high quality, of course, this does come at a price of having large file sizes. So let's go over that. For our rate control, we're going to be setting this at constant QP. By default, in the past, people did use constant bitrate as their rate control. Why this is bad and why we're not using it in a recording format is because that will leave a constant bitrate no matter what resolution you're recording at. Now, while you might think that's good for this, like I said, it is very good for streaming because it leaves a hard rate limit. You will not need this for recording and it is very inefficient. So we're going to be setting this at constant QP. Now for the constant QP level, this is a big one. I have mine set at 18. I feel like this is the perfect middle ground for having almost lossless quality while having a manageable file size. Now, the lower number here, the higher quality you're going to have, and of course, the bigger file size you're going to have. I wouldn't go anywhere lower than 15. 15 is practically lossless to 99.9% of people watching your videos. But now remember, this does come at a huge cost in file size. With that being said, if you are having a storage issue, maybe you don't have a lot of storage on deck for your videos, you can even set this still at 20 or 22 and you're still going to have really high quality on your videos, and your file sizes will be a lot smaller. So go ahead and test this out for yourself. Do a few recordings of say maybe 10 seconds and go ahead and click on the properties of your file and see how big your file actually is for each of your recordings and go based off of that. Moving on next, we're going to be looking at keyframe interval. I have mine set at 0 seconds just because this does it in auto. You can also set this at 2 seconds. 2 seconds is normally the standard for any recording, but I don't really find a difference in anything running it at 0 seconds because it does it automatically. For preset, I run P6 slower. This is for NVIDIA cards. Now, as for AMD, setting this at anything with better quality or say best quality will give you the highest amount of quality, of course, but it does take your encoder a lot. So I find the sweet spot being right under the best quality possible. Now, if you can't run this, run it even one lower than that and you should still be fine. Later in the video, I will be showing you exactly how you could check this to see how much of your encoder is being used. And to do that, all you need to do is go to your task manager and look at your encoder graph. Next, we're going to be looking at tuning. I have mine set at high quality. You do not want to run ultra high quality as this is very slow. And of course, this will take your encoder and it'll be using a lot more resources than it really needs to. Low latency and ultra low latency are good for streaming if you do want, say, the lowest input latency possible and you want to be able to have your stream basically one-to-one with how chat sees it. Now, of course, this is good for streaming, not for recording. So we're going to be using high quality for this. Now for multipass mode, I'm using 2 passes full resolution. This will give you the best quality possible. You can go ahead and switch this to 2 passes quarter resolution. For some people, it might affect how much of their encoder is being used. But for me, I personally don't see any difference at all in how much is being used. And my resolution is just a little bit better. For profile, I have this set on main. I find that works perfect. For look ahead, I have this off as I see that this does use a lot of resources and I don't really get any benefit from running this. As for adaptive quantization, I do have this checkmarked. This is good, say for instance, if you're running a high motion game or a really fast paced FPS, this is good as it will keep the bitrate even. And for B frames, you're gonna want to set this at 0. So now that we have all of that set up, let me go ahead and show you how to check your task manager to see exactly how much resources your encoder is using while you're recording. So what you're going to do is you're going to start a test recording inside of OBS. Then you're going to go to your task manager. Now in here, you're going to click performance on the left-hand side. You're going to find the GPU you're using to record. You'll see that I have 2 GPUs here. This AMD Radeon one is for my onboard graphics in the chip. The GPU one, this is my dedicated GPU. This is going to be the NVIDIA RTX 5070. And as you'll see right here where it says video encode, you'll see the graph at 85 to 86%. This is because I am currently recording this video. So anytime you do click the recording button, your video encode will jump up. Now just go ahead and monitor this. You could try different settings based off of what you've seen in the video and see what basically works for you. If your video encode is at 100%, that is meaning that your encoder is throttling and you need to turn some settings down in order to have a lag-free recording. Some of the settings that you can change if you are at 100% is by turning your preset down from whatever you have it at currently down to maybe 1 or 2 lower than that. Another thing you can try is if you have the 2 passes full resolution on for multipass, try to change it to quarter resolution and see if that makes a difference. You can also turn off adaptive quantization. If this isn't an option for you, it should be called psychovisual tuning. So make sure you turn that off and go ahead and give it a shot and see if that fixes your problem. And that is all for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more awesome tech content such as OBS stuff or even editing software like DaVinci or Premiere Pro. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and I hope to see you guys later.